Okay, there we go. Ah, man, sometimes when this thing updates, I do not like it that it does. Yeah, it updated. Oh my god. I hate it when this thing updates. It's stupid. But anyway, I think I need to do a couple of things. Okay, let me play. Let me keep playing this. Oh, that works, but my microphone doesn't? Okay. Okay. Oh, okay, OBS. Okay. Freaking. Ugh. Whatever. Anyway, good morning. I know you guys couldn't hear me, but good morning. Because I updated OBS a little bit ago and it decided to bork everything as per usual. But anyway, as I was saying, good morning, Azur. How are you? Happy Halloween to everybody. Who's jorking it? Bruh. Bruh. Azur, bruh. Already? Anyway, good morning. Good morning, Shima. Good morning, Azur. Hope you guys are doing well. So, because you guys couldn't hear me, I guess I'm gonna have to re-explain what I was saying today. Um, we are gonna be playing. I more than likely am gonna be playing a tabletop RPG by myself. I was actually inspired to try this by a fellow VTuber that also does solo tabletop RPGs. It is interesting to say the least, and I was curious about seeing seeing how this works out for me because this is very interesting to say the least. So, um we are going to see how this works out and see if it actually gets people interested in more. Because again, I am a tabletop RPG person and I wanted to try something because, I couldn't find a group to play tabletop RPGs with. And so it gave me the idea to see if I can play by myself and, do a little storytelling and do a little rolling of the dice on a very specific virtual tabletop called Foundry. So, of course, today is going to be the very first uh, tryout of this. I already made some characters, I already made some stuff. Oh, thank you for the 7 watch streak, Azur. Damn, you've been here ever since. But anyway, thank you guys. Thank you. Now let's see if we can find any good ambient music. Let's see. Ah, there it is. Okay. You guys can hear that, right? Okay, yeah, you guys can hear that. So, this is going to be a lot of talking. Let me switch over. It's going to be a lot of talking from me. There's going to be some typing that I need to do. And every now and then, you're going to see me roll dice in here, of course. But I'm going to do something that a lot of people don't do. Woo! This is going to be the main character right here. That girly right there. This one. She is a vampire. Recently turned vampire. And we are going to go to the city of New York. Um, let me check a few things. Let's see. Let me do something real quick. Let me roll something real quick. How many do I have? Uh, Let me edit this real quick. Okay, let me roll a 1d8. Okay, so a 7. Okay, so that's the starting of the scene. Vampire double smash. Okay, so the starting of the scene is she goes to the gym to train on her knife work. And then let's see. Um so okay, now I get to roll some action dice. So this is let me 15 plus. What the hell? Sorry guys, this is the very first time that I've actually done something like this, but it's going to be interesting when once I start getting into like the flow and everything. Roll action dice. Okay, so she's going to go to the gym and she's going to roll her dexterity plus melee, which is 4, 8. So 8d10. Okay, let me see the results. Ooh. Oh, oof. 2 ones. That's bad. So that's a. Actually, no. That's only one. That's one, two. Two successes. Yeah, it's two successes. Okay. And then I'm going to be. Oops. Well, okay. So let's set the scene here. Let me set the scene here a little bit as a true storyteller should. Okay, here we go. So, as the day goes to night, things start stirring. Others, some go to sleep, others wake up for their shift. They go about their day or night. Nothing goes always as planned, but nothing also goes unwarranted sometimes. We are following a recently turned vampire. And you see this woman in gym clothes, a hoodie, uh, a crop, kind of like a little bit of a crop top that shows midriff. She is not as toned as she thought she would be, but she probably has a 4 pack. She packing a little bit. Um, to some, she is just a regular 29-year-old woman walking down the street, going down the streets of New York. In the dead of night, she looks at her watch and says, 8 p.m. The sun is down. It's a little too comfortable, she says as she walks. She looks down at herself, making sure that everything is, tight enough to not uh be a little skimpy. She made sure she put on some makeup because she is pale as hell. She did try and put some black lipstick. Yes, she's a goth. She braided her dark red hair with blonde highlights down to a braid, and it's hanging on to the side to her over her right shoulder as she walks. She looks around, and the camera pans forwards a little bit, and you can see that her gaze is purple. It's not a unusual color of eye color for kindred or a vampire, but it is something that changed when she was turned. She arrives at the gym almost as they close, and she goes up to the clerk and says, "Hey, uh, can you hold on? Can you not close up for like an hour?" And the shy male looks at her and rubs the back of their head and says, "Uh, sure, I guess. Please hurry up. I don't cause any trouble, okay?" And then she goes to the back where no one was watching. No one is watching. Everybody already left uh for the evening to go to bed or enjoy the dinner. She takes out a small knife that she likes to carry with her. She looks at it for a moment and she smiles a little bit. This was her favorite knife. She doesn't have her name for it because why would she? She thinks to herself. And most of the time, it's just there as a means of protection, you know? She looks at a training dummy that she always sets up by herself, and she looks around and doesn't see a problem with a lot of people. Let's see. Well, let me see if she let's roll some dice to see if she notices something within the place. Let me see something real quick. Let me see contests. Oh, charisma. No. I think it's to spot something. It is wits plus composure, or wits and intelligence. Okay. Okay. So let's roll some wits and resolve to see if she catches anything so far. Let's see the numbers. Oh my lord, I am rolling so bad. Okay, so and I have to do one hunger die. Okay, so blood potency. Okay. So she gets 2 successes because every 6 and above is a success. If I got a 2 10s, then I would have rolled decently.
Did you miss me?
Oh my god, Amber.
I bet you missed me.
Hi, Amber.
You mighty beast. Roar.
You mighty beast. Oh my god, Amber. Good morning, Amber. I am trying something new, a solo TTRPG, by the way, as I am the storyteller and a player at the same time. So we are slowly getting to know how this works. Of course, it'll take me a little bit to uh, see what it actually what it actually means to do a solo TTRPG. But let me see. Okay. Oh, this will be interesting. Oh, I am trying to be a DM and a player for ever since a while, ever since like 20 minutes ago, but we are just starting a little bit of a scene here. And this character, the main character right here, Rena, is a vampire. So, let us continue, shall we? So, with two successes, she looks over at the clerk of the gym that she went to, and she doesn't really notice that he's been watching a little bit. But as the camera pans to the clerk, we see that the clerk, a dungeon daddy. Oh my god! And as the camera pans to the clerk just looks at her strangely, like, "Why is she carrying a knife?" He says under his breath, and then he just shrugs. He doesn't want to pry. Maybe she was a victim of something and she wants to train. Then the camera goes back to Brina, and she begins her training. She trains for a little bit. Let's roll another one. Let's roll. Let me see. Let me see. Example of rolls. Oh yeah, that's right. I basically need, as a storyteller, I literally can choose whatever I think is appropriate for this scenario. So, because she is more dexterous than she is strong, she tries to train as much as possible with her knife in the most quick but efficient way to give someone some damage. So let us roll some more dice. But because she has a specialty in knives, she gets to add two more. So 10 d10. And let's see what happens. Oh, much, much better. Well, one, two, three. Three successes. All right. So, for those at home, for those that don't know Vampire the Masquerade, you get to combine a pool of dice. And however many pool of dice, you need six and above. A one, of course, doesn't mean anything by itself. And if I remember correctly, two ones is a critical failure, if I remember correctly. I'm gonna have to relook at the relook at the rules, at the rules and roles and stuff. But for now, let's just go with the rule of cool. Okay, so with three successes, you see her uh do several slashes with her knife, and even though they don't cut very deeply, they still would do some damage to something, hopefully. Right. um but in her doing so, she looks over at the clerk again, and the clerk just they are literally looking at her like she's crazy. Like, how could somebody do something like that really, really fast? And all she does is, hey, I've trained with a knife before. And the guy just looks at her like, all right, I guess. And they start going through their own their they start going through their own things that they need to do before they close the gym. So, within an hour, another person comes in. A human, from what you can tell. It's a little weird that some humans this late at night at New York would be going to the gym. She looks at them and they look at her and they both stare at each other for a moment. Both of them have a recognition of knowing each other. This woman, she is about 28 years old. This is another this one is actually a brunette with forest green eyes, about 5'1" compared to Rena, who is 5'5". She they stare at each other, and within a few moments, the woman starts going towards Rena, and Rena panics a little bit. And the human woman says to her, "You look familiar. Why are you so familiar to me?" And this causes Rena to panic. Now, I'm going to roll a composure and resolve to see if she actually calms down. Let's set it to at least 2 successes, shall we? Ooh, 2 successes. There we go. She takes a moment to compose herself and she just smiles and says, "I don't know what you're talking about." And then she hurriedly puts away her knife. She puts away her towel that she basically started sweating and putting and damping herself from the sweat. And she goes around the corner after picking up everything. She says goodbye to the clerk, and the clerk just looks at her weird. And she goes out the door. And within a few seconds, she is going to use this. Hello? Blood surge, no. Uh, okay, let's roll. She's going to use obfuscate, but and she's going to stand there beside the door, and all of a sudden she disappears. A few moments later, the other woman comes out, the brunette, and she looks around like, "What the hell? She was just here a moment ago." And she looks around, unknowingly that Rena, the redhead, was literally right beside her, but she was invisible. She literally, you can see as the camera pans from the brunette to the redhead is literally inside of a shadow right next to the door that was caused by the light fixture that was nearby. And she stares at the woman, and under her breath, she says, "Why is Elena here?" She says softly to herself. Then she waits a minute, 2 minutes, 3 minutes go by, and then the brunette goes back inside like nothing happened. This, however, makes Rena look around, and she drops out of her shadow. She drops out of her disguise, and she starts walking away, gripping tight the bag that she was carrying with her, the gym bag that she was carrying with her. As she walks away, she goes back to her apartment. And as she goes back to her apartment, she starts feeling strange, as if something was actually looking at her. Then afterwards, as soon as she gets inside of her apartment, which was not too bad, it wasn't nice. It was just a one bedroom apartment with a bathroom and all of the amenities that one needs in today's day and age. She sets down her bag, her gym bag, and as she sets it down, she looks over picture, at a picture on a picture frame. And both, and as the camera pans from her to the picture is of her and the woman from a little bit ago. She goes over and gets it, and she kind of runs her finger, well, her fingers over the woman that was right next to her, and she softly says, "I'm sorry, Elena, but you're a hunter. If you see me like this, you would probably end up having to kill me." And then she kind of tries to hold back some tears that were welling up in her eyes. And this is where we go to a flashback. Several days before, because she is a newly turned vampire. As the flashback comes into reality inside of her mind, her and Elena were together. They were hunting a vampire. A vampire that not a lot of people know. And she goes by the name of Luna. They look at each other like, what the hell is what the hell is that kind of name? Honestly. And they converse back and forth and back and forth. And then she then after a few moments they both take out their handguns and they go into an abandoned building. They search and they search and they search and nothing happens. Not a single not a single sound, not a single trace of any supernatural beings, vampires, werewolves, anything. But Re- Rena looks at down at her watch and she says, "It's Lena, it's getting late. We need to go to bed. I have to go to work tomorrow. You know this." And Elena looks at her and says, "Well, if you have to go, Rena, be my guest." But they look at each other. "You know that I love you, right?" And Rena says, "Yes, I know. It is unfortunate that I cannot join you because of my job. But I will be able to join you more as soon as I get more time off from my job. You know how hard it is sometimes." And Elena just nods. "I know. It is something that we both need to agree on sometimes. You know, you should quit your job. It is causing you stress." And Rena just shakes her head. I can't. They provide me the little apartment that I have. I mean, shit. Look at how much they actually think of me sometimes. And Elena just chuckles. They go back and forth and back and forth. And then before Rena leaves, they both go up to each other, then they embrace. They kiss each other on the cheek, and then Rena goes into her car and she turns it on. And then she takes out her phone, her new Samsung Galaxy phone, and she sends Elena a text message saying, "Hey, don't stay out too late. You and I both know that hunters by themselves are very vulnerable." And within a few seconds, Elena responds with a smile emoji and says, "Don't worry, baby. I got it. I got my gun. I got my dragon breath. You just go to bed and I will see you tomorrow. Maybe. Remember, we still have that lunch." And she puts down two finger gun emojis. And this makes Rena chuckle. I know we do. And as for that, she puts down her phone. And let me do some rolling here real quick. Oh wait, no, that was the wrong one. So that's 5. Okay. Okay. Let's see. So two successes. Okay. The camera pans now to the car that Rena is driving. It's a hybrid car. It's one of those 2023 hybrid cars that are kind of on the cheaper side. So she starts driving. She doesn't pass any reds. And she was just driving home from another day at her job as a hunter. A hunter in Vampire the Masquerade is a person, of course, that hunts. What do they hunt, you ask? They hunt vampires, werewolves, anything of the supernatural order that they have uh, going. And as soon as she goes off, she starts driving. She looks at the time. It's about 9 p.m. She starts driving. Nothing happened. And suddenly, something hits the side of her car and it makes her car flip into the air, roll in the air, and go on the ground. Of course, she doesn't wake up very quick, but she does wake up on time. She smells gas. Then she looks around and she sees a little fire starting at her side of the passenger side of the car. So she groggily starts trying to undo her belt. Then she's like, "God damn it, fuck!" And then she takes out her knife from her boot and she starts trying to cut it. So let's do 6d10. Let's see how many successes she got. Oof. Okay. She got 2 successes, which is good, but she got 2 failures as well, so only 2 successes. Which I think with 2 successes, she starts cutting the seatbelt. And she struggles a little bit. She looks over at the fire starting to blare, to starting to flare a little more. And then she's like, shit. God fuck damn it. This was my new car too. And she angrily starts doing it again. And because she is using whoops, something to do it. Let's see. Oh, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There we go. 7. Damn. Determined, she cuts the seatbelt. And with that same motion, she flips on her side and kicks the door. 1, 2. And at the third kick, the door flies open. She starts crawling out almost immediately. But as she starts going towards somewhere, towards away from the car, and start trying to call 911 and say for it's an emergency and things like that, the car explodes. It explodes in such a way that some of the shrapnel, as she covers herself, flies towards her and cuts her in the neck enough that she starts bleeding profusely. And she tries to cover her wound as much as possible, and she calls and she sends Elena a text message saying, "Hey, I need an emergency. Call 911 to this place." And starts she pings her location, and she honestly goes to sit down. And as she sends a text message, she starts going into cardiac arrest because of the blood loss. She, as this was happening, she looks to the side and she sees a woman, probably 40 to mid 40s, walking towards her. She wasn't walking towards her in a malicious intent, but she was walking towards her with a little bit of a not a gait, kind of like a supermodel kind of way, in like she knows what she's doing. But this woman was a little strange. She walked quickly, too quickly to be a human. She immediately recognized who this was. It was a vampire. And as the woman approached, she knelt down to her and looked her in the eyes and said, "Ah, you are too young to die. Do you want to live?" And unable to respond, Rena just gurgles, tries her best to stay awake, but everything after that fades to black. As we go back to modern day, Rena looks at her in the picture with Elena, and she puts it down, and she basically puts it down face down. She looks outside the window because she started hearing some pecks, some pecking at the window. Then she looks, and a crow was there, looking at her expectantly. And you just hear from outside of the window, a small little voice inside of her head. Hey, hey, open this up. Come on, open it. I got some news. Come on. And she goes to open the window, and the crow flutters inside. And as Rena closes the window, she looks at the crow, and the crow perches itself on top of her bedpost. And the crow literally looks at her, and to anybody else, this thing would be cawing. But to her, it would be talking inside of her mind. This was no ordinary crow. This was her crow. She blood bonded this crow to herself. And when she dies, it doesn't die, of course, because it's a living being. It actually gets to live. But they can understand each other. And the crow, one second. The crow starts cawing at her and tilting its head back and forth from left to right, right to left, and says, "Hey, you do know that she wants to see you, right?" Rena tilts her head. "What? Who wants to see me?" The crow literally just caws and starts going towards her and starts pecking her. And starts pecking her playfully. "You know who it is. Don't be stupid." And then it goes back to the bedpost. And Rena just gives him this flat look, like, "Ugh, really, Sky? Do you really think I'm that stupid?" And the crow just kind of, kind of flutters its wings and shrugs, sort of, kind of like a human. "I don't know. Sometimes you're really stupid, but hey, we all got to start somewhere, right?" Ugh. And they go back and forth, and Rena's just like, "Ugh. Sometimes I wish would have chosen another animal instead of you." And Sky literally just looks at her with the saddest, the saddest look in his eyes, and he's like, "Oh, I see. All right, fine. Then I won't be your messenger anymore." And she goes over to pet him, and he's just caw. And as the more pets go, his plumage kind of fluffs out, kind of like a dog. His tail starts fluttering, his wings start fluttering. He kind of puffs up to a little ball of black feathers. And then she gives him some food. And Sky looks at the food as, "Oh, crackers again? Come on, man." And he eats it anyway. It's like, actually, you didn't put anything in this, did you?" And Rena smirks. "Maybe. It's your favorite, isn't it?" And Sky looks at her, and he says, "Ah, I see. You didn't put any of the extra stuff, did you?" Rena shakes her head. "No, not really. Not yet, anyway. But because you have been a good boy, and thank you for the message from Luna, I will give you an extra treat." And she goes over to a small little bin, takes some tweezers, and takes a worm out. And she brings the tweezers close to Sky, and Sky immediately goes with almost inhuman speed and starts eating it. Like, damn. This one's preserved a little. Love these. I always pick at someone. I always pick at someone for food, but damn, these are good. And Rena just shakes her head. Okay. So, where are we meeting? Sky looks at her. "We are meeting you. She wants you to meet her at her house." "What?" "You heard me. Her house." You mean the huge ass mansion at the end of the city? Yeah. Oh, I see. So with that, she goes over to start going towards her car. She gets in her car, and let's do some rolls, which is she's gonna try and be as careful as possible driving towards her sire's abode. So let's see. So 7. Let's see how well she does. Oh, look at that. A crit, which is when you roll 2 10s, which is the highest of a d10, it's a crit. If you roll 2, that's even better. Because in this system, according to some of the rules, when you roll 2 10s, it's a 4. So that's 4 successes, 5, 6, and 7. Man, if she didn't drive good enough before as a human, she is now. Because goddamn, she's really good at it. She stops at every stoplight. She actually calculates as much as possible before she has to stop. She makes sure that everybody around her is doing what they're supposed to do. And a lot of people start looking at her like, damn, that's a good ass driver right there. Even the police is just like, even one of the police officers is like, hey, good job. Gives her a thumbs up. That's a good ass. God damn it, Ember. That's a good ass. God damn it, Ember. Why? Why are you always like this? Why? But anyway, wiggle that peach. But anyway, as the drive goes by uneventfully, thankfully, she's still a little bit paranoid because of what happened a couple of days ago. So she looks around. She makes sure that not a single fucking supernatural thing starts going for her. Now that she is also a supernatural being of the undead kind, also known as a vampire, or a kindred in this case, she makes sure that nothing is going towards her. She waits at a stop sign a little too long. A little too long that somebody goes beep behind her, and then she goes. As she drives off towards the exit of the city of New York, there is a big mansion. Like one of those holy crap, you're rich mansions at the edge of New York. And you're living here, and all of this space is yours, kind of rich. Like, this person spent a whole lifetime almost, probably from ever since they were able to work, which is 18, to all the way to their 40s and 50s to collect all of this money and perhaps even make their own company or something along those lines. And then she drives towards a gate. The gate slowly opens. Everything else around the place is really, really, really nice. Except the gate. The gate is all rusted and fucked. It literally makes the whole sound as it tries to open itself. And she literally just shakes her head and looks at Sky on the seat, perched on the seat beside her, and she sighs. When is Luna going to fix this? Mm, don't ask me. She's the rich one. You tell her. See how that goes. No, I won't. I know she likes her stuff. And she emphasizes on the stuff. This was interesting. Interesting enough to say a couple of things. She goes over to park inside of, well, up front, and one of the valet goes up to her car and says, "Good evening, Miss Blackman." And she nods. "Hello, Albert. How are you?" And Albert just looks at her, nods, and gets in her car and goes off, drives off to park the car. She goes up to the door. The door is fancy, like lavish, ornate wooden doors with like stained glass for the small little windows at the top. And of course, there has to be something golden, just something. And this makes Rena kind of like cringe a little bit. She looks at the golden, literally. I've just regained consciousness. Hello, Eldritch. Hello. I'm trying out the solo TTRPG stuff as much as I can. Um, and as she grips the door handle, she turns the door and goes and opens the door. She forgot that it swings outward, so she hits herself on the head and just like, oh god damn it, and she just says under her breath and literally steps away from the door, and she closes it behind her with a soft click. And as she looks around this lobby, the lobby is fancy. Red carpet with gold embroidery, chandeliers of the highest degree, candles everywhere. A lot of candles. A candelabra lit and ready to go. The tables were almost made out of polished oak wood that has been put in a little bit of a layer of gold. The sides and the legs are also painted gold. Well, well, you know what happens to wood. They literally had to paint it gold for this woman, whoever her sire is, and she goes over to sit down in the lobby at a very velvety kind of colored themed lobby. She goes to sit down at the couch, which was very large, and she waits. She crosses her legs and waits. Within a few minutes, maybe 5, 10 minutes, Lena looks over at the staircase as small little pitter patter of bare feet go from one step to another step to another step. And these steps are made out of carved stone. That's the only reason why she was able to hear the pitter patter of footsteps. As she looks up at a woman around 40 to 50 years old, black as night hair, with very sparkling purplish pink eyes, and she looks over at Rena and says, "Ah, you made it. Good." As she slowly descends the stairs, of course, she's a vampire. She doesn't give a shit about her age. She leaps down the other steps and lands and does a little twirl and does a little pose. Then she walks over to where Rena was and sits down at the couch in front of her. And as they both look at each other, Luna just smiles. Her big fangs showing not in a threat, but in a friendly manner. Ah, you're here. I see your bird told you my message. Rena nods. Yes. Why have you summoned me? Luna goes over to a small little wine case. A wine case that has vintage wine, but we all know that this is not wine. She takes it out in a red, viscous, kind of wine like substance is within it. And she takes out two glasses and she puts down the glasses, uncorks it, and serves what many kindred these days call blood wine. Blood wine is a combination of grape wine and the blood of a mortal. And so she sets it down. They both drink. They both drink their fill, of course, because they're vampires. They don't even feel the alcohol coursing through them. They're just like, whatever. And they look at each other. Luna, however, was not very content at the moment. Rena was able to notice this. Someone say alcohol? Yes, somebody did say alcohol. uh, and Rena just sits there silent in front of her sire. And for those that do not know, a sire is the one that turned you into a vampire in Vampire the Masquerade. Of course, their relationship is very mother daughter kind of thing that you will listen to me. Staring can sire me. Oh my god, Amber. It is a very it is a very mother daughter kind of relationship, but taking to a new level. Luna can easily make Rena listen to whatever she has to say. She not, doesn't even have to wink, and Rena will kneel down and say nothing more. But this is not their relationship. Their relationship is fair. Their relationship is of mutual understanding. And this pleases Luna a lot. You see, in vampire society, a lot of things have to have rules. Of course. Of course they have to have rules. Why wouldn't there be rules? And with these rules comes another subsidiary of rules that other kindred, such as themselves, have to listen to. One, they cannot harm or kill any mortal. They cannot harm or turn another mortal without permission. The only reason why Rena is still alive is because Master Chief can give me a side of his prime beef. Oh my god. The only reason why Rena is still alive is because her sire, Luna, got permission from afar. Wow. And they all agreed through the council that they should always ask the Camarilla, which is a group that brings order into this, for permission. Luna was stalking, sort of, Rena all over the place because she was a hunter. And hey, how else to turn another hunter into something they hunt than to wait for the right moment. Right? Right. So, within this, Luna looks at her child with an E, or childer, as they call them. Listen, I need you to do something for me. Rena tilts her head. I know you have your woman. She smiles. But you need to put that aside for now. I need you to look into a kindred matter. Oh, Rena said, just blurts out without even caring at this point. What kind? Well, my child, I want you to kill it because this bastard has started to take from me. And we both know that something you take from me, good old Madame Luna, you have to return. Rena looks. Rena's expression turns from calm to serious. What did they steal? Well, my dear, they stole something very precious to me. My necklace. And she kind of almost breaks the glass in her hand. My necklace from my late husband. I want you to retrieve it, and I want you to end their life. Bring them the final death. Because nobody steals from me and gets away with it. And at this point, Rena kind of backs up a little bit on her couch because she knows what was about to happen. And lo and behold, the glass in Luna's hand is crushed. And everything from glass to the blood wine spills to the floor. And she opens her hand and it starts to bleed. She starts slowly and without even giving a shit, plucking out all of the glass from her hand. And then she licks her own hand and smacks her lips a little bit. You know, for an old woman, I still stayed pretty good. And Rita just shakes her head like, what the hell, man? What the fuck? And Luna just smiles. Oh, don't you worry about that. My husband used to tell me all the time. But anyway, you have your duty. Now go. Go explore. Go see who did it. I do not care. Kill them and bring me proof. Bring me my necklace. And Luna just starts going away. She gets up without a single word. The pitter patter of her bare feet on the marble floor, just going away. And as soon as Rena blinks, she disappears. Disappears from sight, disappears from any senses that she had. Rena, in this case, looks at the crushed glass, the remains of the crushed glass, and just looks at the stem and stares at it. Hmm. You know, sometimes I wish I wasn't this. She kind of looks at herself in the reflection of the glass. Otherwise, I would still be with Elena. She takes the last drink of her blood wine and sets down the glass right beside it, and then she gets up and starts to leave. She gets in her car, and as soon as she gets in her car, Sky literally starts freaking the fuck out. Why did she keep crushing glasses, bro? Why? Does she know that's dangerous? And Rena looks at Sky. Well, duh. She's older than me. She knows what she's doing. Sky give and as the engine roars to life, Rena looks at him, just shakes her head. Don't question it, okay? She does what she does, I do what I do. She probably has a bigger purpose for me because, I used to be a hunter, and I also didn't used to talk to a fucking crow. Sky looks at her with the most insulted look in his face. Really? You're gonna put that shit out in the air again? And Rena just laughs and starts going back to the city. Now, as a storyteller, this is where I would get to tell people what they want to do. But because this is a solo TTRPG, I kind of have to roll for it. I have to roll for this new thing, this new side thing that she probably gets to do. Good job, Saribot. Good job. But this new thing that she needs to do for the rest of the night before she actually goes to bed. Not to bed, to do other things. Investigate who took nice necklace. There we go. So now, let's roll a 1d8. 4. Ooh, all right. Number 4. Okay. As the night goes by, Rena looks at the clock in her looks at the clock in her car as she starts driving down the streets of New York. She looks over at Sky even though they were both quiet for a few minutes, and she just looks outside the front window and thinks. Sky looking back at her for a few moments, then looks back towards the front shield, and he just chirps a little bit, flutters his wings, pecks at his wings. You know, you should check out on your waifu. He just blurts out, and Rena immediately shoots a side glance at him. What the fuck do you know? What the fuck do you know about her? Everything. You told me, remember? Yeah. When you literally gave me your little blood bead or whatever the fuck you call that shit, and you turned me into this. You're still alive, Sky. Oh, yeah, that's right. Sometimes I forget. Anyway, this is something that you always tend to do sometimes. Just go see how she is. I would pretty sure she would appreciate it if she kind of feels safe, especially in a world full of darkness. She kind of stares outside of the window as she drives, her eyes moving slowly up and down, left and right. Yeah, you're right, I guess. I guess I can go see how she is. Let's do some rolls and let's see how well she does. Uh, Dexterity, so 7. Oh, ooh, that's a good sign. Okay. So 1, 2, 3, 4. 4. She starts driving down uh New York. The streets are always, always, always busy, no matter what time of day it is. Whether it's during the day, or during the night, or midnight, or 4 a.m., it's always packed and it's always busy. Street vendors selling food, people going out and about, people walking, homeless walking, everything in between. And she gets a little lucky. She starts driving in down a street that she knows that doesn't have a lot of traffic most of the time, especially at 12 a.m. Well, 12:30 a.m. It only took it only took a few minutes, maybe half an hour, to drive over to Luna's, have that conversation, and get that new mission, well, objective, and drive back. As she drives down, she begins to go down a specific street. She knows that this is the street that Elena lives in, where they both used to live in before Rena was turned. She drives down a little bit, then she parks the car in front of a home. A small little cozy home about 20 minutes away from the epicenter of New York. Then she stares into the front door, and beside the door is a window. And that window had a light on. And with that light on, she kind of smiles. I see she's gone home early for the night. And she looks at the her car that was literally right in front of her. She looks at Sky for a few moments. Look, I can bring you with me, but if I start talking to you and you start talking to me, it'll be weird as hell. She knows that crows are intelligent, but you're far too intelligent sometimes. You know that? Sky flutters his wings. Damn right you are. Fine. I will act a little stupid just for you. God. Sometimes the things I do for you and your little waifu girl, whatever the fuck. You do know that I can peck at her window, right? Why are you going to peck at her window? Why? Why are you like this, Sky? Why? And Sky just flutters his wings and starts pecking at the window inside of the car. You gotta be fucking kidding me, dude. You gotta be fucking kidding me, man. Are you serious? Let me push this down a little bit. 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 There we go. Okay. I think this is a good time for me to take a little bit of a break.
Oh, you touched my tra-la-la.
Jesus Christ. Okay, so I'm gonna take a little bit of a break from talking so much. While the others are in ad break. Ah. So, guys, this is my first time doing a solo TTRPG. I hope you guys are enjoying it so far, because this is one hell of a trip for me. I literally have to voice every single NPC and my PC at the same time. This is great. This is great for my voice. I am going to have no voice at the end of this fucking stream. Sounds like an adventure? I know. I am literally trying to think outside the box. Because basically, I have done DMing before. Like, with other people, of course. But being this kind of tabletop that actually is made for a group and a DM, going solo like this is really, really hard. And sometimes I have to think outside the box. Literally. It sounds like an adventure. It sure fucking does. Let me check something real quick. VTuber assets? Hmm. Okay. Damn. Okay. Okay. Now that everybody is back from their ad break, hello. We're back. We're back from the ad break. I didn't say much. I didn't continue because I know most of you are like, what's next? What happens next? No, I'm just kidding. I know. I'm barely beginning this, and it's actually kind of interesting. This is my first foray at a solo TTRPG, but typing unlimited. Yup. It this kind of thing kind of like helps some people keep talking, which is basically a lot of streamers thing that you have to do, literally. But anyway, back to the first episode of this. Shooting your own character in the foot for the story. Oof, that's true. But hey, I mean, I am. Here's the thing. I am trying to make Rena's pet, which is basically she formed a bond with Sky the crow, as unhinged as possible. Sort of. And it's kind of fun doing it to your own character. It's fucking great. But anyway, let us continue with this episode of this new series of solo TTRPG Vampire the Masquerade Edition. Okay. Let's change the music a little bit, shall we? as Rena stares at the window, and now we have a crow literally pecking at the window of her car. Rena literally snatches Sky, and he goes Brr! And then he literally turns him around to look at her in the eye. Look, you little shit. Stop. Okay? Stop being unhinged for 1 second. And I will maybe let you in to see your favorite person. Because I know that ever since me and Elena got together, you liked her ever since we picked you. And Sky literally looks at her like she's stupid. No, I didn't. You're just putting words in my mouth. Because in his little bird brain, he doesn't understand who actually owns him. Who actually bought him was Rena. And not Elena. But when they got together, Rena was the one that went out of her way to purchase a crow for herself. And this bird brain doesn't understand. Sky literally just remains still. Fine. You want to leave me in here? Fine. Fine. And she lets him go, and he flutters over to the seat and perches himself on the seat before Rena steps out of the car. And because she is a vampire, vampires have this neat little ability that they can blush of life. What is blush of life, you ask? A blush of life is when they make their body human again. They're undead, yes. But when they activate blush of life, they actually, what is this? Ah, yes. They actually make their body start breathing again. They have a heartbeat. They have warmth to their skin. They have other things to uh to do with human anatomy stuff, things, whatever. Anyway, they she activates her blush of life, which she needs to rouse check. So, does she go hungry? Yes, she does go hungry. Oof. So, she gets a little hungrier. She she kind of bares her vampiric fangs and hisses a little bit. And in the back of her mind, that beast, that thing that crawls within her skin just says, "You're hungry, aren't you? You're gonna have to find some food soon. Not so soon, but soon. And if I have to, I will feed on your person." And as it says that in the back of her mind, this cold feeling goes up and down her spine, and it spreads from her chest all the way down to her fingertips. And she staves it off for the moment. Wow. Okay. Well, there's a button right there. Derp. So, as her body comes alive, she is wearing her gym clothes still because she didn't bother changing because of the urgency that her sire had in her message. So, your humanity right now is at an 8. Oh, which is good. Because she has an ability that when she rouses the blood or blushes of life, she acts more human than beast. The lower her humanity is, the higher it is that she can frenzy and kill somebody. The higher it is, the more human she looks. So, because her blush of life looks more human, she actually looks less pale in her perplexion. She looks more to what she used to like before she was turned into a vampire. Of course, she was still pale, but pale in human terms, not vampiric terms. Is wearing black lipstick. Yes, she's a goth. Sue me. She put on her usual wing mascara on, her eyeliner, wings, and all of that good jazz to make herself a little presentable. She is a goth, Subi. Yup. And she kind of like, fixes herself, adjusts herself, looks down at her sweatpants and kind of like tightens it a little bit. She kind of like brushes herself. She runs her hand over her dark red hair with blonde highlights. And she. Oh, okay, here we go. She goes up to the door and she knocks. A second, a minute, not a second. A minute passes. 2 minutes pass. 3 minutes. And then the door opens to see the woman that she saw earlier, Elena. And with a sort of a gasp, Elena literally almost kind of like throws herself at Rena into an embrace, and they both just embrace each other. They hug each other, and Elena looks at her. Why have you been missing? You know, ever she kind of hesitates a little bit. You know what? Let's talk about this inside, okay? And she moves to the side. She goes back inside, moves to the side, and both of the ladies go inside. Rena goes to sit down at the couch, and Elena also goes to sit down at the couch beside her. A little awkward at first, and of course, both of them are really, really, really awkward with each other. They kind of like shoot each other glances every now and then. Elena tries to reach for her hand but can't. She's too much of a coward. Then Rena just reaches out and takes Elena's hand. And she kind of like squeezes it a little bit. And they look at each other. Elena, I'm sorry. I just had to leave New York for a little bit. Uh, family, family matters. And Elena kind of like furrows her brows a little bit. Like, are you serious? Like, you didn't say anything? Kind of look. And this is where I get to roll something for our dear Elena. Wits and intelligence. So 5. She is a human. So 1, 2, 3. And for Rena, I need to roll Charisma and persuasion. Uh, 5. Ooh, 1, 2, 3. Okay, so it's a tie. Ooh, okay, this is gonna be good. They Elena doesn't know how to put it into words, but she is kind of suspicious. But she knows that Rena wouldn't say anything like this if it wasn't important and she couldn't talk about it. So they're literally staring at each other, having this little bit of a stare down. And then just Elena smiles. It's like, oh, I see. Um, I'm assuming you didn't tell me because your phone didn't have any signal. And Rena just nods vigorously. Yeah. Yeah, I actually looked at my phone and my phone was dead almost. It had no signal, it had no battery, and she starts making all of these excuses because she doesn't want to tell her what she actually is. And knowing their history, they would probably be at odds and wouldn't be dating anymore. So both of them talk for a few minutes, and then Elena just reaches out and puts her hand on Rena's arm, and she smiles and is like, it's good to see you. You know, I missed you. And Rena just gives her a small smile and says, "Yeah, I know, I missed you too." And they both. Is there spice in this story? Oh, you're about to find out. Um, Rena kind of smiles a little bit, and damn, she doesn't have anything. Okay, so she kind of like she kind of like goes in for a kiss, and then both of them look at each other with those eyes that they used to look at each other with, and Elena kind of like looks away, then looks down, then smiles, and then looks back at Rena, and then she kind of like winks, and she's like, "Hey, you up for something?" And Rena, shocked, is like, "What the fuck? Wait, what? I've been gone this long, and that's all you can think about?" And of course, he doesn't say this, and Rena's just like thinks about it for a moment, looks outside, sees a very sad face on Sky, and he starts looking at her like, "Come on, man, come on, man." And she just closes the curtains, and Rena just reaches cups Elena's um cheeks together, cheeks in her hands. She cups her cheeks in her hands, and she goes in for a kiss, and they make out for a few minutes. Yes, cheeks. Not those cheeks, the other cheeks. And minutes turn into hours. And within an hour, and after actually, let me let me do something here. Let me make a couple of rolls. What is her stamina? Okay. What is her wit? No, resolve. Okay. So 1, 4. One success. Okay. All right. Her stamina is 2. Her resolve is 2. Okay. Oh, oh God. Okay. Okay. So here's what happens. As they kiss, they hold each other, and then it fades to black. 2 hours later, the camera pans to their bedroom, and both of them are in bed, naked, of course, covered, and Rena is still awake, and Elena was asleep. And Rena kind of like reaches over and starts uh and starts caressing Elena's cheek and smiles. Man, you still got it, but I think I still beat you. And she kind of giggles a little bit, and then she reaches over to her clothing and she starts getting dressed. She looks around, making sure that everything was secure, that the windows were good, everything was secure, and as soon as she goes to leave the bedroom, she kind of goes over to Elena's side and leans over and kisses her cheek, and she smiles and whispers, "Hey, I have something important I need to do. Okay, I love you, and I hope to see you again." And Elena kind of groggily wakes up a little bit, and she she gives her this stupid, like, we literally just had the time of our life look, and she just smiles, and she's like, "Okay, I miss you, but I know you have things to do. Okay, I love you." And they reach out and both get have a tender moment, and they kiss again. And then Rena smiles and she starts going down the stairs. And as soon as she reaches down the stairs, she hears the small little pitter patter of bare feet. And she turns around to see Elena, fully covered by the sheets, literally look at her and smile. "Hey, you're always welcome to my place. You know that, right?" And Rena nods. "Yeah, you know, we kind of had a wild night." Rena just blurts out in typical Elena fashion. She kind of like looks surprised, looks away, and her face is deep red, like cherry red. It's like, "Oh, you know how to always, always, always make me blush. Ugh, I hate you sometimes." And she literally just walks back to her room, fully flushed in the face. And as Rena exits the door with a smile on her face, very big smile on her face, as some of them can probably surmise, she goes to her car and and as soon as she gets out, she kind of closes the door with a soft click, makes sure it's locked. And as soon as she turns to look at her car, freaking Sky is literally pecking at furiously at the window and putting his face flat against the car window. It's like, "Hey, I heard what you did in there. Don't be don't be stupid. I'm not that stupid. I know what you did." And Rena's just like, "Shh, stupid. Come on, man. Don't pick my car window so hard. Okay? Don't peck at it." And she goes to get in the driver's seat, and Sky's like, "Bow chicky wow." And he literally starts making a little raven dance on his perch. And he just starts singing that song, which makes Rena just roll her eyes. "You're impossible, you know that? God, it's like raising a fucking toddler." "Hey," Sky kind of retorts, "I'm not the one who has, you know, fun time all the time. Hey, man, you gotta calm down a little bit. Hey, you just remember, okay? She's human. and she's a hunter. If she ever finds out that you are a vampire, or whatever the fuck you are, you're just an undead thing. I can't even hear your heartbeat, Jesus Christ. But from what I know and what you have told me, if she finds out, then I don't know if she will be able to handle it. And Rena kind of looks at him for a few moments, and she turns on the car. And as the engine roars to life, she sighs and grips the steering wheel. I know. She's a hunter, I know. But if I can keep this a secret as much as I can, then I will. And her eyes kind of harden a little bit. And as she starts driving away, she. The drive home is silent. Like, she should be celebrating that, her and Elena literally just had a good fucking time. Like, emphasis on that one, on that word. But ever since she was turned into a vampire.
Oh God, it's so good. So good.
Good. So good and tasty. That is very accurate, I will say. But as she kind of reminiscence on what just transpired, and whew, boy, she is, if she was alive still, she would be flushed in the face still. Whew, man. And and she kind of like side glances Sky, and Sky side glances her, and he kind of looks at outside the window once they stop. You know, her her screaming like that makes me wonder sometimes. And Elena just slaps him like, "Shut the fuck up." Not Elena, Rena. Rena just slaps him like, "Shut the fuck up. I didn't know you were what? You were literally, what the fuck do you mean?" "Oh, I was watching." "What? You pervert?" And she slaps him again. And as much as she can slap a bird without hurting it, she calms down a little bit as soon as they get home. And Sky flies over to and perches himself on her shoulder as she gets out. And she gets out of the car, blocks the car, closes the car door, locks the car, makes the beep sound on the controller, and then she starts walking to her apartment. And she kind of looks over at Sky once more. "You do know that you have broken my privacy plenty of times, that I should probably have buried you by now. You do know that, right?" And Sky shrugs, fluttering his wings. What can you do? You're immortal. I'm just a mortal bird that you can talk to. You do know that how crazy this looks like, right? And she looks over at a person, literally watching this interaction between Rena and the bird. And the person is just like, "Hey, so you talk to birds too, huh?" And she rolls her eyes. "Get away from here." And she goes back into her apartment. And as soon as she gets into her apartment, she gets on her laptop. And she starts researching a few things that she needed to do for her sire. Okay, so she goes. Oh, she has nothing in technology. Oh Boy, this is great. So she only has 3 in intelligence. See how she did. Oh, 2 successes. Okay. So, she starts looking around on the internet for any recent robberies that have been reported, and she finds out that somebody or something did steal from Luna's house. It was reported immediately by Albert, the butler. Rena kind of like looks at the name, recognizes the name Albert. Oh, does is that her butler or her personal, you know what, escort? Let's put it that way. And she kind of digs a little bit, and she gets a name. She gets a name, a last name, at least. And she kind of furrows her brow. She wasn't expecting this last name. Let's see. Let's get something very, very, very good. Let's get a random name generator, because why not? Oops. Ooh. She gets the name of Adams. She kind of wonders to herself, do I know an Adams? I might actually know an Adams. Let me see. I know you guys can literally see this, but this is fine. This is great. There we go. And then save. She gets this name, Adams. Last name, Adams. Hey. She looks over at Sky. I need you to do some reconnaissance for me here a little bit. What? What do you need? What do you want? Do you know of any other hunters around by the last name of Adams? Sky kind of moves back and forth on the bedpost. No? Maybe? I think I heard an Adams, a last name of Adams around here somewhere when I was flying back. I just need to remember where. Oh, you remember where? You gotta be kidding me, right? Oh, come on, man. I might be a bird brain, but Jesus, I'm not that stupid. Okay. Well, Mr. Smarty Bird, why don't you go and investigate for me then? Ugh, whatever. He goes over to the window. Well, are you gonna open it or not? And then she goes over to the window, unlatches it, opens it a little bit. Not just a little bit. She opens it. She opens all of it and keeps it open. There. God, you're such a crybaby. And she sees him fly off. Now, let's see. Let me roll a d10. Oh, a 7. Okay. So, I am going to use her statistics. Intelligence and investigation. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's see how he does. 1. 1 success. Okay. So, with one success. And 3 hours later, it's about 3 a.m. now. Sky comes back, fluttering, and then perches himself on against the window, and then flies inside. Hey, I think I know where he is. Yeah, yeah, I think I know where he is. And Rena looks at Sky like, what? Are you sure? It's only been 3 hours, you know. It's not. You usually take long. You usually take longer than 3 hours. Probably the next night. And he's like, eh. I just swooped around, made sure I listened in a little bit, and I heard the name Adams drop again. What do you mean? Well, I uh, I crashed into a window because I wasn't watching, and I slid down a little bit. And when I came to, you know, I uh, I got up and started, hopping around like an idiot. I heard the word Adams by a hotel. What do you mean a hotel? Yeah, one of those big buildings that have lots of invisible windows that I don't know what the hell to do about. Because sometimes I forget that there's windows, you know? And she just shakes her head. What the hell are you talking about? Of course there's windows, you idiot. Well, how the fuck am I supposed to know? My little bird brain can't comprehend. Wait, there's invisible windows? He literally blurts out, and she's just like, are you serious? And they go back and forth, and she gets more information. Adams is staying at a nearby hotel, very fancy hotel, because of course it's New York. And she needs to do a little bit more digging. She goes over to her closet because, of course, everything has to be fancy here. Everything. It's New York, after all. she gets. She opens the door, and a lot of dresses are there. From long coats with fur to black dresses, black gothic dresses, because, of course, that's just her style. Lots of high heels, lots of pumps, and, of course, lots of lace. So she goes over to her closet and starts changing. She gets on this beautiful, I mean, chef's kiss design, brand design dress, like long dress with sparkles that is kind of black and purple, and when it shines with the light, it glows purple, and then in other kinds of light it goes black. And she goes over to pick up some black high heels. She, of course, puts on some leggings because, of course, leggings with a dress like this would always be nice. She puts on the leggings, she gets on her shoes, she fixes her hair in a kind of like a bun that is being held by two kind of like crow feathers. Of course, not crow feathers from Sky, kind of like make believe feathers that she uses to hold her bun, her little bun and the back of her head together. And she goes over to her end table and picks out some reading glasses. Of course, she's a fucking vampire. She doesn't need reading glasses, but she puts them on anyway. Because she has to bring up appearances. Teehee. As she finishes her final touches, she kind of like redoes her makeup. She looks human pale, of course, human pale. And she goes to fix her lipstick a little bit because, of course, it was all smothered from a little bit ago, um, which was nice. And then she goes to her mirror. Oh man, that is such a perfect moment. Ah, yada yada. Perfect moment to literally drop that, not gonna lie. She goes over to her mirror, fixes her hair a little bit more. Make sure that her bang isn't really in her face, but one of her bangs is covering her left eye. Just, just for a little flavor. Bang a, God damn it, Amber. Not that kind of bang. Her hair bang. Okay? She does her hair in such a way that it covers her left eye. And she looks over at Sky, presenting herself, like, hey, what do you think? And Sky just shakes his head. What do you mean, what do I think? I'm not even human. I don't understand what you... He motions with his beak up and down. What you do? Man, I'm supposed to be kind of like your best friend too, but don't ask me this. I don't even know what human hair is. Well, I kind of do know what it is. I tasted it before. It's kind of disgusting. Especially on those bums. Why did you taste human hair? Oh, this bum out there in, the streets had a breadcrumb on his hair, and I swooped down and took it. Kind of tasted like oily. Kind of disgusting. I still ate it anyway. And Rena just shakes her head. Why? Why do you do this sometimes? I don't understand. Look, I'm a bird, okay? I only know two things. Eat and poop. That's all I know. And now, you. I guess. He just goes quiet. Rena's just like, oh, really? Really? Fine. Anyway, I need you to stay here tonight. What? You heard me. You're gonna stay here tonight. Why? Why can I not roam free? Fly with the wind. Fly somewhere. I don't know. Because you already did. And if you fly some more, somebody's gonna see you. And if another kindred sees you, they're going to try and track you. And I don't want that. Okay? I don't want you to die. That's why. And kind of like Sky kind of goes quiet a little bit, flutters his wings, flutters his tail, and then lowers down a little bit and puffs up. All its feathers puff up. Fine. Just close the window. It's cold in here. And she goes over, closes the window, latches it, closes the curtains. See? That wasn't so bad, now was it? Whatever, dude. And Sky turns around and kind of like closes his eyes. Just let me sleep. She goes over to a small little bowl to where usually Sky goes to eat. She gets some bird feed, puts it in there, gets, a little worm here and there as a treat. Of course, dead worm. It's not wriggling anymore. Puts it in there, goes over to pet Sky, who is now sound asleep. And she goes for the door, opens it, closes it with a soft click, and locks it. She goes into her car as puts in the keys in the ignition, and the engine roars to life once more. She starts driving towards this hotel that she got the information from Sky. And she looks it up on her phone, looks up the name, and puts it on the navigation, and she starts driving off. And of course, because of who she is, she she looks around, goes over to park her car a little bit a ways from the hotel before she goes to before she starts walking toward the hotel. As she gets there, she goes over to the receptionist, a young blonde female, maybe 19 years old, barely got the job, still in training. It even says on her little name tag, in training so and so. And there's another person right beside her explaining things to her on how the procedure goes, how to check in guests, how to make sure the guests have everything they need, how to answer the phone calls, how to respond to the phone calls, how to look up names, on and on and on. Rena goes up to the receptionist desk and she goes, "Hi, I am looking for a person with the last name of Adams." She looks at the brunette beside her, an older employee, maybe 20, maybe 20, 21, barely just turned 21. "Ah, are you here for the meeting?" And she's, yeah, kind of like absent-mindedly is like, yeah, the meeting, yeah, the meeting. So she's going to have to roll something. Manipulation plus persuasion. So 5, 10. Oh, that doesn't look good. One success. Versus the humans. Manipulation, persuasion. So 3. Let's see how she did. Oh, 2, 3. Oops. The receptionist kind of like furrows her brow. Ma'am, are you okay? You're not. Are you drunk? It's like Rena looks at her like, no, maybe. I hope. I hope not. And the receptionist is like, "Ma'am, please, I need you. Please go outside, okay? If you're going to puke, please go outside." And Rena rolls her eyes and looks around. God damn it. She goes over. She looks at the receptionist, both of them, and then she kind of waits for a moment. She goes outside, makes sure that nobody was looking, and goes, she goes invisible. As she uses her cloak of shadows, she sinks into the shadows of the building. And she watches. Watches long enough for the older employee to go away or go to her break. And then she goes inside the lobby once again, appearing. And she goes up to she goes inside the lobby. But As she goes towards the receptionist desk, she looks around. Let me roll something really quick. And wits and resolves 4. Oh, that does not look good. 1. Okay. Yeah, it's kind of obvious, sort of. And she literally looks up and sees one of those bulbs of a camera. And she's like, shit. She goes over to hide behind a pillar and is she looks at the camera, looks at the receptionist, looks at the camera. God damn it. Why do they always have cameras? Okay. So, I need to do something and I need to do it quick. I do not have anything. I do not have. So I need something. And then she kind of gives up at this point, trying to go in through the front door. And she goes outside once again. Now, let me roll some intelligence and streetwise. Maybe this will go better. Oh. 1, 2, 3. Ooh. With 3 successes, she looks around the building and she finds the fire escape. She's like, oh, good enough. She looks up and with her superhuman strength, jumps a little bit, catches the rolled up ladder and pushes it down. With her body strength and her sheer weight, she pushes it down and it goes at the side of the building. She starts climbing the side of the building and then she goes to a window and sees it's open. She goes inside the window and starts going into the suite. She opens the door softly, slowly, then closes it. Then looks around and makes sure that she isn't seen by cameras. So she is going to try and sneak around. Where is it? Subterfuge? Oh, stealth. There it is. She's going to roll dexterity and stealth, but she doesn't have any dexterity. So I think she is going to blood surge to add 2 dice. So 6, 10. First, let's see if she can. She gets hungry. Oof, she gets hungry. Nice. She gets 1 more hunger, but she also gets 2 more dice. Ooh, now this is going interesting. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. With 4, she is able to sneak around the place using her obfuscate and cloak of shadows to her advantage. She is able to actually use it to hear the camera turning, and then she goes against the wall and goes disappears. Of course, to the opposite end of the camera, so it doesn't look at her. And when it passes by, it goes back to the other end to look at the other hall. And that is when she goes over to sneak off. She goes around, starts listening to the visitors here and there inside of their rooms. And because she is a vampire, she can listen in really, really, really well. So, I'm going to roll Wits and Resolve. So, 4. Oh, what you get? 1. Kind of a little hard of hearing, but if she puts her ear towards the door, one of the doors that she suspects Adam is in, she hears muffled voice, 2 muffled voices, like, "Hey, hey, do you know if there's more blanks around the place?" I did a sweep, and no, there's not any blanks, at least from my knowledge. And Rena kind of like, her eyes widen at the revelation that perhaps this Adams who stole from her sire is a mortal. And that is bad. If a hunter steals from a vampire, that means they're trying to follow them. And because of some magical voodoo bullshit, which is what she calls what hunters can do, their magical voodoo bullshit, they might be tracking down her sire. And that cannot stand. So, knowing what she knows, she kind of like knocks at their door. And let me roll something. Manipulation plus persuasion, so 5. She's decent at this, hopefully. 1, 2, 3. Yep, 3 successes. And she room keeping, and she uses her cloak of shadows to disguise herself, to disappear. She slowly takes out her knife, and she waits and waits and waits. As soon as the door opens, she will let me see. Okay. This guy doesn't look very physical. He looks very kind of like a man of the cloth. And that is where I'm going to pause for now, because ads are starting soon. And I don't want you guys to miss what is about to happen. The very first encounter or fight, combat scene of the game. I will see you guys soon. Ads, come on. Come on, ads. Are you gonna start? Are you really going to start? Ah, yes. Ads. There it is. Man, these ads were taking a little bit to actually form. Jesus. Adds equals break? Yes. I mean, I can't snooze them anymore. Sadly. But hey, the first encounter of the game. Two hunters versus a vampire who doesn't even know what the fuck to do sometimes. She's really, really bad at stealth, but she's really, really good at talking for an introvert. Which is great. It's hilarious. I literally made this character almost like me. Almost. Oh boy. Okay. As soon as ad break is done, combat is going to start. So, I need to adjust. I need to get some music. Hmm. 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 Let's see. What do I have in my little playlist? Let me see. Hmm. No, I don't want that one. Hmm. Where is it? Where is it? Wow. I cannot find the song anymore. Oh, there it is. All right. So, welcome back, everybody. This is going to be the first combat encounter. The very first combat encounter of this new TTRPG solo series of Vampire the Masquerade 5th edition. Thank you, Amber. Thank you for the hydrate. Okay, so as we begin, I need to see who would be faster. Oh, okay. One of them is a hunter. Uh, Dexterity and wits. Oh yeah, that's right. It's wits and awareness, isn't it? For okay. Okay, so physical 4. All right, so let us see. Dexterity and wits. The physical is 4. And no, their physical is 3. Their mental is 4, so 7. Okay. Oof. Ouch. 2 1s and a 10. Okay, so that negates each other. So, no successes on the priest. Yep, no successes on the priest. Then the hunter is 9. One, two, three, 4. Okay, that negates. Okay, so that's 4. And then dexterity and melee for her because she was ready. So 8 to 10. 1, 2, 2. Okay, so I am going. She is going to use a willpower to reroll 3 dice. So she's going to roll all of those 2s. Let's see what she get. Ooh, so 4, 5, and 6. She got 6. Okay. So this guy. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. So because of that reroll, she won. And she is going to immediately shank the clergy hunter in the face. Invisible, which actually he can't really see it coming. So she is going to use her dexterity plus her melee. And then add a 1 because of her specialization. And then I need to find weapons in this freaking let's see. Conflicts. Physical combat. Who goes first? Damn, nice song. Damn, nice song. Hello, Jamie. Happy Halloween. Okay. Thank you for the hydrate. Thank you. Oh, surprise attacks. No, well, she's invisible. That's fine. Dexterity plus melee for one-handed melee weapons. Okay. Dexterity athletics for dodging. Okay. They're physical plus athletics. Talent to talent brawling. Surprise attack. Okay. Because she's invisible, she actually gets the drop on this guy. Okay, where is the damage of said weapons? Okay, there we go. Light piercing, which is a switchblade. And a knife. Okay. Crossbow bolt and a switchblade, which is also a knife. Okay. So, She is going to. Okay. So 1, 2, so that's 4, 5, 6, 7, 7, 8, 9 damage to the priest. Oof. 9 damage off the bat to the priest. Poor guy. Honestly, poor fucking guy. Yeah, I think she might have fucking killed him already. Let me. Let me see their. Scenes and modes, extended play. Oh, advanced conflict. Okay. Where? There it is. Antagonists. Mortals. I think she literally just killed a clergy. What is their... health? 5. Oh. Oh, God. Oof. Okay. So, here's what happens. And this is the scene. As the clergy opens the door, everything, they look outside, nothing. They turn around, it's like, hey, there's nothing really. He doesn't even have time to react. This invisible woman, or a vampire in this case, just literally drives her knife up his from bottom to top of his head, killing him instantly. And she takes it out, and the clergyman just drops instantly, dead on the spot. Then she looks at the other hunter and she smiles wide. And she says, I believe you have something that doesn't belong to you, human. And she gives him the satisfying glare of just having killed their hunter mate, their not mate, their hunter fellow. And it's the other guy's turn. Being a trained hunter, this doesn't really... Melee 6. Okay, melee 6. So 10 dice. This doesn't really surprise them, so they're going to take out their bat, spiked bat, at this point. Like, alright, you fucking blank. Let's go. So they are going to roll their weapon attack. Oof. Oh, okay, that's 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 successes. Okay. Then, because she actually sees it, she is going to use athletics, dexterity, and athletics to dodge out of the way. So that is 7. She is going to rouse the blood to get 2 more dice. Yes, she doesn't get hungrier. So 7, 8, 9. Let's see how many successes she got. Oh. So 4 because of these two. 4, 5, 6. Oof. Not enough. So she is going to take 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, 7. Does it say that they take the difference, or does it say that they... Close combat. Okay. So, yeah, I think she is... Yeah, I think she is going to take 7, 8, 9 points of superficial damage. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Oh, damn. Almost down. Almost. But she is strong. And she will not let this asshole get away with it. So, it goes back to her. And now she is going to use her knife again to try and kill this guy. Actually, no. Let me see. Bear with me, guys. I'm a little all over the place because this is the first time that I'm actually having to do and look around for stuff. Okay, so strength plus brawl. Oof, she doesn't have anything. Just a single die. She's very dexterous, but she isn't very strong. Oops. Okay, so she is just going to try and get this guy dead. Okay. Man, she's rolling poorly. One success versus his... Oh, he doesn't have anything. Okay. So it's just physical. Dexterity plus athletics. He doesn't have anything in athletics. So it's just going to be 4 dice. 1, 2, and 3. Oof. Okay, so he dodges expertly. Like he's been trained to do this before. And she is going to... Okay. Oh boy. This is going to be something. Okay. So he's going to swing his bat again. One, two, three, 4, 5, 6, 7. Oh my god. This guy, damn. He might as well just kill her. Okay. Dexterity plus athletics. So that's 7, 8, 9. She's going to rouse again. And she gets hungry. Oh. She is not rolling well, man. These dice. 1, 2, 3. Nope. Okay. Oh, this poor girl. Oof. But hey, the dice tell the story. The dice tell the story. This hunter literally bats her so hard that she goes into a torpor. This was oof. This was rough. Rough enough for her that she was literally knocked unconscious. Oof. So, what happens next? Because she is aware of what is happening, even though she is in torpor, which means that she is awake to witness, but she is also unable to move. She sees the hunter go up to her with a gun, probably with a silver or incendiary round in the chamber, and he just smiles. You vampires are not as strong as you think. This world doesn't belong to you. It belongs to us. And if you ever think that you assholes are going to take over the city, you are mistaken. Something within Rena snaps. Her memories of her and Elena going through her mind, she frenzies. And when a frenzy goes off, the beast takes over. As damaged as she is, she immediately, with strength of a beast, let's roll here. Let's roll this real quick. Two. Okay. He wasn't really expecting this, so. Yeah, he wasn't really expecting this, so he's going to take a 2 dice penalty. Okay. Oh. Crit fail. He doesn't expect this. She jumps on him and latches on and sinks her fangs into his neck. Now, because this is combat, she slakes 3 hunger. As she starts to mend, one point of superficial damage. Okay. So she's going to rouse 3 times. Okay, she gets hungrier, but she takes a superficial. Okay. Okay, she takes one superficial damage. She's going to do it again. Okay. For another one. And she's going to do it one more time. Oof. She is now back to where she used to be, but she is no longer in torpor. And because she can't control herself, she goes back down to 0, ending this hunter's life without any remorse. Of course, this is combat, but still, she just killed a human in self-defense, mind you. But it had to be done. Unfortunately, she will take a stain to her humanity. As she kind of frenzies inside of the room, and she goes over to the dead body and starts to drain that one as well. She outright killed the clergy, but that's fine. He was already dead. And she drains it before her eyes go back to normal from this ferocious beast that took over. And she sits down and looks around. Shit. She takes off her reading glasses. She doesn't need them anyway. And she starts dragging in the bodies inside of the room. She starts scrambling around. And let's see if she can do investigation and intelligence. So 40-10. See what happens. 1 and 2 successes. Okay. So she does find a little bit of cloth that she can wipe away all of the blood that is literally pooling inside of the room from everything that has transpired in this moment. She drained both of them dry, which is the good thing, but they're still the bodies that she needs to get rid of. And that is what worries her. She doesn't know what to do. This is the first time that this has happened in over a few days. So she goes over to the bed, sits down. She literally puts the do not disturb sign outside of the door, outside of the suite door, before she calls her sire. She finds a necklace and is staring at it, and is a little bit of a necklace of a little heart, of a little metallic heart. She opens it and she sees a picture of Luna and her late husband. And behind it, she sees a small little vial of blood. And at the top, inscribed on it, it says, "Forever and always." And then the blood vial kind of moves a little bit. She, kind of in a panicked voice, as soon as Luna picks up the phone, kind of in a panicked voice, she's like, "Luna, I don't know what to do." "What did you do?" I was almost dead, first of all. And then I proceeded to frenzy. I calmed down, sort of. Then I drained a hunter dry. All you hear is an audible sigh from the other end of the phone line. Ah, I was going to teach you how to control your beast, but it seems that it actually saved you. Do not let it do it again. You hear me? Ah, yes, Luna. Good. What were they? They were hunters, ma'am. How well were they built? They were pretty built. I killed the clergyman really quick, but the faith hunter, kind of almost killed me. And all she hears, ha, clever. Of course, one of them would steal my shit. Of course, it would be one of the higher hunters that would try and take my stuff. You did well, although perhaps you need to a little bit of time to yourself. If I need something else, uh, also I am sorry. I almost got you killed. I didn't know that it would be this much of a hassle for you. You are a barely newborn vampire, of course, sadly. But I will give you something for a good job. Again, you are very lucky that you survived. Not many survive a faith hunter, especially with how they deal with us. Blanks. She kind of trails that word off and kind of hisses at the uh she kind of hisses at the intonation of the meaning. Ugh. Whatever you do not go against any other hunters. Think before you do. Okay? And Arena looks out the window. Yes, of course. It was my bad. I didn't know that they were actual clergymen and faith hunters here. My dear, do you have the necklace? Yes, I do. Good. Then you did well. I will give you whatever time you need to recover. And I will think about something else. I may have some other things, minor things that you can do. I have other children of mine that I could probably have sent, but me sending you that way, I almost got you killed. And that makes me feel guilty. So, I will call my cleaner, send me the room number, send me the hotel name, and I will call a favor of a cleaner of mine. All you need to do is get your bird to deliver my necklace, and I will send you something much greater for something that actually happened. Okay? Be safe, my dear. And she hangs up the phone. With that, Rena looks around She tries to hide the bodies as much as she can. Let me see. Intelligence, and that's it. Okay. Let's see how well she does. 2 successes. Okay. Yeah. She manages to. She literally gets both of the bodies into the bathroom. So they drain whatever little remains of blood they have on them into the drainage. And she closes the door. And then she puts a note up saying they are here. And then she locks the door, first of all. She goes over to the window and not the window, the balcony door, and opens it, and all she feels is, and then something opens the bathroom door, invisible, and then closes the door. All she does is stare, like, what the hell? Then she goes to the door, goes out the door. It doesn't remove the do not disturb. Actually, she removes the do not disturb sign, puts it inside the room, then closes the door, and starts to leave. As soon as she gets to the elevator, she presses the button, looks down at her phone. Then she looks back at the room suite door. The door was open. Kids' Halloween parade at school. Okay, I am about to end here in a moment, so I think 3 hours was fine. So, here is when she sees another kindred staring at her from the shadows. Thanks for stream. Yeah, no problem. This is where she sees another kindred, another vampire, stare into her eyes. And it just tilts its head and smiles. This vampire was very... It is one of those that has to hide. This vampire clan is known as the Nosferatu. Whatever their curse is, it's ugly, to say the least. It is visceral, their looks. They do not, and they cannot be seen outside of their haven, or else it would breach a very complicated set of rules. And just as the kindred smiles at her with that toothy shark teeth grin, it opens the door to the suite, goes inside, and closes it, putting the do not disturb sign over the handle again. And as that happens, she kind of furrows her brows. And before she knows it, ding! And the elevator doors open. Some people go out of the elevator. And then she goes inside of the elevator. Thank God that she cleaned herself a little bit before she went, because she had blood all over her face. And she presses the button to the ground floor. as the elevator goes down and down and down, she contemplates. If the beast wouldn't have taken over, then she would have died. And there would be no more Elena, no more life, no more New York. And she was glad that it happened. Of course, it was messy, but it happened. And with that, she gets out of the elevator, making sure. Where's stealth? Stealth and dexterity. So she is going to roll 4 dice. They are human. They're not paying attention. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay. Yep. With 4 successes, she manages to slip past the receptionist. Seeing as they were talking amongst each other and not really paying attention, she manages to slip over the view of the receptionist, and she goes back to her car. And as she reaches her car, she gets inside. She grips her steering wheel after putting on her seatbelt, puts in the keys to her car, turns them. The engine roars to life. And she thought about a few other things. And as she drives home, she contemplates on what transpired. She was aware of what was happening. But the thing is, oof. Yeah. She takes a hit to her humanity as the beast in the back of her mind. Okay, she's still decent humanity. As the beast in the back of her mind laughs. With glee, mind you. It laughs and laughs and laughs all the way back to her apartment. Okay. Well, thank you, everybody. That was chapter 1 of this new series, solo TTRPG series. I know it took me a little bit because I was a little bit unprepared, and of course, this is the first time that I've actually done this. Man, I literally had to think on my toes. That is very interesting on how I had to devise everything around this solo TTRPG. Man, it was interesting. It was interesting to say the least. But again, thank you everybody for being here. I think this was interesting. It was a lot of fun. I still had a lot of things that I needed to that I needed to look over, of course. Knowing that this was interesting, I am actually going to see if I can do every other week. I'm gonna see if I can do this solo TTRPG stuff every other week, I guess. But I think most of the time it's gonna take me a little bit to um adjust to being a solo TTRPG person. Um it'll be interesting. I did like how this all panned out and how it keeps you on your toes and it keeps you being a DM and a player and doing other stuff. Of course, I need to read all over this, all over again. I almost got my own character killed, which is great. But hey, I mean, this is the world of darkness, right? Everything dies and everything survives in the nick of a couple of rolls. Okay, everybody. Thank you. Thank you to all the lurkers that came here. Thank you to everybody that came along. Thank you, thank you. To my very first tabletop RPG tryout for a solo TTRPG, mind you. I will see if I can make it longer because this was fun a little bit, but we will see what happens. Anyway, I am going to look for someone to raid. Let me see who is on right now. Okay, Choco is on, so might as well raid Choco. Okay, there we go. There it is. Okay, so there's a raid message. Again, thank you guys very much for being here. I will be live tomorrow, and I think I will be playing something else other than Darkest Dungeon. I think I'm gonna be playing either Vampire the Masquerade because ooh, spooky, or Solo Repo or something along those lines. But I will see you guys tomorrow. And I hope you guys enjoyed today. I will try and upload this immediately, almost immediately, to as a VOD and on my YouTube. Yes, I do have a YouTube. It is the same name as my channel here, Crimson Draconis 154. And I hope you guys enjoy this little mini series and mini chapters of a new solo TTRPG. Okay. I will see you guys tomorrow. Good night. Good day. Have a good rest of your day. Have a good night. Have a good evening. Wherever you guys may be. See ya.